toilets, thrones, and holes.
I recently took a 12-day trip to Europe, drove from Amsterdam to Budapest, and from Budapest to Venice, Milan, Paris, and Brussels. I was surprised how much the Europeans like to guard their toilets. It takes money to pee, and if you don't have any, you're shit out of luck, so they say. Nobody told me that the toilets have a pay station and turnstile, and if you fail to enter your required euros, the machine flashes and sometimes makes noise as if you were trying to break into Fort Knox. And imagine all the foreigners looking at you shaking their heads. The entrance varies in price from 50 euros to 200 euros. I became very sick and had to use most of all the bathrooms on our trip, and when I came home, I probably spent a week's salary just using the facility. The proper name when asked for one depends what country you are in. In Amsterdam, it is a toilet, easy. In Hungary, it's a WC, Bece, pronounced Bece. The Swiss call it toilette, and in Italy, they call it Gabonito. All you must remember is that you have to pay in any currency you have except American coins.
If you drive the Autobahn in Germany, there are many exits for gas and toilets. You can expect to find a service area every 60 kilometers. The reason they are so close is because they figure the first time you reach over 173 kilometers or 107 miles, you probably will want to exit, run to take a shit, or change underwear. In any event, be sure to have change or a credit card. I find it interesting that all through Europe the toilets are so clean. The stalls were clean, the waste cans were not overflowing, the soap dishes were filled, and there was plenty of toilet paper. All that money goes to a good cause. The service facilities try to make going to the bathroom a pleasant experience, and all but one was pleasant. Imagine driving in Germany in December when the temperature hovers around 30 degrees. It is bad enough that you have to get out of a nice hot car to go pee, but when you get to the bathroom, you find a cold steel toilet. It's no wonder that nobody wants to stop and poop. In the BC years, they had no problem sitting together with their friends or coworkers outside in the garden or in an area with holes in a rock fence. They just sat and talked. They all sweat together and froze together, but no one minded a little company. I imagine they probably passed around a branch with leaves to wipe, or maybe they grew weeds close to the toilet and used them to wipe. I found this old picture in the internet, and although they didn't have to flush, apparently there was some kind of water sewer system that washed the turds away and kept the room. They didn't invent toilet paper until much later, so until then they used a stick with a cloth wrapped around the end. They dipped it in water and they wiped. Of course, the kings and queens had their own little private room called the privy or garden robes, and the Gomer farmer's job was to remove the feces and take it and bury it somewhere. Gross. The first flush toilet was invented in 1596 for Britain's Queen Elizabeth I. But being the Queenie snob, she refused to use it because it was too noisy. Besides, her gong farmer would be glad to do his stinking job and remove it for her. As history would have it, the flush toilet was finally invented around 1851, and it brought to the public by Thomas Crapper. Funny how the name stuck. Soon after that, the toilet paper was invented by Joseph Fayette, which was medicated paper sold in sheets for the shits. But some people still preferred to use leaves, moss, corn cobs, or whatever. But let me get back to the original story of the toilets on the German Autobahn. As I said earlier, before I got distracted, the toilets, or the Vatse were surprisingly clean and rather pretty. Some were decorated or painted, where others were plain and cold and looked and felt like a surgical room. These two separate toilets were pleasant red color. They were both very warm and also smelled like cloves. This set of toilets had a light above the stall to show if it was occupied or empty. All the toilets were self-flush and had ample toilet paper. Some of the toilets had comfy baby changing tables, and some toilets are just plain toilets, white with toilet paper, self-flush, no personality. Some are black, and some are open with no doors, and if you wait long enough, you can see the men using the urinal. Ooh. This bathroom confused me. It was pretty walking in, but the sea view was also inside the toilet stall, and it had no handles. So pretty, and it smelled like lilacs. How did they do that? The Schloss Hotel in Salzburg had one of the finest bathrooms I have ever had the opportunity to pee in. It had top quality toilet paper, it had a bidet, and if you ever get a chance to visit and stay there, you will spend your entire savings, but it will be well worth it. Everything about this hotel was luxurious and about as perfect as it can be. Luxury at its finest. It had a bidet, it had heated floors, it had a jacuzzi tub big enough for 2 people. Just saying. Every little town and city had its own personality, keeping with their tradition. The center of Salzburg, Austria, had several toilets. This one is at the foot of the mountain where the elevator leads up to the castle. This toilet was free, courtesy of the city of Salzburg. Nothing says winter vacation in Europe as a nice cold toilet, unless you step into a beach scene and forget about the cold. Paris is an exciting city full of life and extravagant toilets. Christian Dior had a woman's jacket for $6,000 and an ordinary plain toilet, while Montclair in Milan had a high fashion bathroom, very chic. The Central Market in Budapest had an attendant because it was one way in and one way out, and the turnstile kept getting stuck. The line was long and there were only 3 stalls for a huge 3-story market. The Drabbest Toilet Award goes to the Galleria, Lafayette Champs-Élysées. The interesting thing about European toilets is that there are no 2 alike. Some have stairs, some have bidets, some have artwork. In Paris, the underground toilet has a little history. When you go underground to the Arc de Triomphe tunnel and take the elevator to the 2nd floor, there is a bathroom in the corner. The statue of Jeanne de la Liberté on the way to the toilet screams out, encouraging people to fight, but could have easily been screaming, "Get out of the way, I have to go bad." So many interesting sinks and toilets, some with stairs, some with bidets. I still have not figured out how the 2 toilets work. Do you poop first, then sit on the sink, looking bidet to wash your bottom? Wouldn't it make more sense to have just one toilet instead of having to get up and possibly drip all over yourself? Or is it just me? On the way to Venice, I found an interesting toilet at McDonald's. I call it the Origami Collection. Very interesting artwork and instructions on how to fold your toilet paper into origami characters. Also, the flowers were real, and the scent was very pretty, like a fine perfume almost. The colors in some of the toilets in rest areas on the Autobahn are made to wake you up. You walk in drowsy and come out with bulging eyes. Here is a not so subtle green one. Notice the little man running. some sinks come with instructions, and there are some with cute little sayings. This one says, "Did you know parrots are very good at imitating all kinds of sounds, apart from imitating the human voice? Something to quietly take into account in the smallest little thing." Restaurants in Europe have the prettiest bathrooms, in my opinion. This is one at Faubourg 34 restaurant in Paris. It was down some steep stairs, but it was so worth it. This one was at a pub in Brussels, again with the stairs. The Gang restaurant in Brussels wins my Best Toilet Award. It had a great entrance and a classy bathroom. Or did I just have too much to drink that night? Some bathrooms come with a phone, just in case things don't come out right or you run out of toilet paper. Some bathrooms come with creepy people in the mirror. Oh wait, I know them. Some bathrooms are very quiet, cold, and colorless. Hurry and pee and get out while you can. The airline toilets were the dirtiest and the worst. This is the end of my European toilet WC collection. I hope you have enjoyed seeing the many varieties of toilets. If you feel like splurging on a toilet fit for a king or a queen, let me suggest a royal gold toilet from Royalty Toiletries, and notice the gold toilet paper. Goodbye, au revoir, totsien, verabascu, buchu, arrivederci, adios.